Hello, nerds and nerdettes, and welcome back to the channel where once again we have a new video for you guys. Today's video will be my haul for the month of September 2023. This was my birthday month, so I do have a decently sized haul for you guys that we will go over here shortly. But a quick reminder that if you are looking for any of the books I'm about to talk about, or any of the books I feature on my channel, to use the channel sponsor organicpricebooks.com. Use the discount code STAYNERDY for $2 off your order, or when ordering 3 or more books, you can use the code STAYNERDY, ship it together for 5% off that order. And for my manga lovers and my manga fans, I am a Right Stuff affiliate, so if you are planning on ordering from Right Stuff and you would like to help support the channel, then you can go into the description down below and use my Right Stuff affiliate link. Both the link and the OPB code are great ways to help support the channel. Every little bit matters, and I'm extremely thankful for those of you that contribute. But without further ado, let's jump into the haul. A quick reminder, like always, every single haul, we are going to be starting with manga, then working our way to indie or smaller publishers like Image and Dark Horse, and then we will jump into the big two. But let's go ahead and jump into this haul. My one and only pickup for manga, which I apologize, I have been light on manga for my hauls and the channel in general, but this is a very exciting pickup because this is the second to last deluxe edition for Blade of the Immortal in these Dark Horse deluxe editions. Volume 10 should be coming out this month, October, and that will wrap up Blade of the Immortal, which is super exciting to finish yet another series in these amazing books. Cannot speak highly enough about collecting it in these editions. I think this is by far the superior way. I know there are some fans that do like the trade paperback omnibuses because of the colorful spines and everything like that, but man, are they so beautiful in these editions. I highly recommend them, and I highly recommend this series as well. It grew on me massively, and it's easily in my top 5 favorite manga titles right now. So definitely check it out if you haven't. But that does wrap up manga, so we're going to jump into the indie and smaller publishers. My only 2 pickups for Image, a smaller publisher, is Invincible in the Ultimate Collections. I was light in manga and smaller publishers during this month, but I more than made up for it in Marvel and DC, so just wait for that. But this is Invincible, Robert Kirkman's magnum opus, in my opinion. These are the Ultimate Collections, which are just oversized hardcovers, but you have no shortage of ways to collect this series. There are trade paperback compendiums, hardcover compendiums, library editions that are now being reprinted and getting new volumes added. If you want to read this, you can check it out. I think there's even a newer format of trade paperback coming out as well, so if you want to read it, there's no shortage of ways, and it's one of those essential reads, especially for Image. This changed the game for superhero comic books. This felt fresh, new, vibrant, action-packed, bloody, had everything you could want taking place in it, romance, family drama, and if you did like the TV show, this is obviously its source material, and the TV show was a fairly faithful adaptation, so if you want to see where the TV show goes from where we left off, start reading Invincible. But these are the Ultimate Collections 7 and 8, which leaves me with, I think, 2 more to collect to finish the series. I am recollecting it, and this is my preferred format, but that does wrap up smaller publishers. First up for Marvel was kind of a random buy that I found in the wild, which is Eternals. This is the Neil Gaiman stuff with John Romita Jr. on art, which I know his art is fairly divisive in the community. Sometimes I'm not the biggest fan, but this is the Eternals run, or the Eternals content, that I enjoy the most. I think Neil Gaiman's writing style contributes very well to the kind of Eternals lore. So definitely a really good read. If you did like the movie, some of the source material that they pulled from, or the inspiration that they pulled from, takes place in this book. This is a oversized hardcover as well, and I believe I found it for like half off or something. So extremely excited to add this into the library, even though I wasn't exactly hunting for it, and it kind of just fell into my lap. But still, nonetheless, happy to have it. But let's jump to the next Marvel book. The next Marvel book is also an OHC, which is Marvel's the 10th anniversary edition. Marvel's is written by Kurt Busiek with art by Alex Ross, which is that painted, extremely realistic style of art that most people probably have seen, whether you're in the community or not. He really doesn't need any introductions, but just in case for those of you that haven't read this. But this pretty much follows a lot of historical events that took place in the Marvel Universe, but you are seeing it from a different perspective, which is a reporter's perspective that is reporting on all of these historical crazy events that are taking place, such as Namor versus the original Human Torch, Spider-Man versus Green Goblin, the death of Gwen Stacy, just to name a few, and you get to see it from a completely different perspective. Of course, Kurt Busiek, the living superhero encyclopedia, is the one writing, so he stays faithful to a lot of those comic book events. And then you have Alex Ross's incredible and beyond realistic artwork to make it feel that much real and realistic. And it's not my favorite Alex Ross art or Kurt Busiek writing, but it is one of those Marvel books that is an essential read if you're going to get into Marvel, and you kind of have to read when getting into Marvel because it's just so acclaimed, so many people love it, and it's definitely worth reading in a oversized format because of Alex Ross's art. But this is the 10th anniversary edition. It's much more expensive online. I found it in the wild. It is a little dinged up, but I took it and now it's mine. So let's jump to the next book. Next up is somewhat a set of Marvel omnibuses, which is the Young Avengers omnibuses. You'd have the Heinberg content here, or the Heinberg run, and then you have the Gillen run over here to my left. This is somewhat a sequel to this omnibus, which is why I kind of ended up getting them together. I much more rather the Heinberg stuff. I think it is really, really good stuff. It really shines a lot of light on that next generation of heroes that you really get to meet and grow and flourish with. And then Kieran Gillen's run kind of injects it with some even more young, kind of hip, trendy aesthetics and feelings. And they do somewhat go side by side. I think there might be a couple issues that take place in between, if I'm remembering correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. But this has the young Loki, which is a huge character that kind of played a fairly big role in not only this series, but also Loki series as well. So definitely some really good stuff. I do recommend this omnibus, the content that's collected in this omnibus. This is really, really good stuff. I remember reading this in single issues and it was great. This I remember not liking as much, but still enjoying, but still please pick up this at least. But that does wrap up this set, so let's jump to the next omnibus. Next up is XFactor by Peter David Volume 2. I've had Volume 1 for a while. I had to pass on Volume 2 when it initially released because of other books that were released during that time period. But I did circle back and pick it up. I am a fairly big fan of XFactor, especially when Peter David was on writing duty. And I highly recommend XFactor really to a lot of people. I think it's a great title in general, even the earlier stuff that featured the early X-Men team. But when Peter David takes over and really injects it with new characters and kind of a new vibe and aesthetic in general and a new feeling, I very much enjoy that stuff. This collects the XFactor investigation stuff, which is extremely good as well, and introduces us to even more new characters and fleshes them out as well, which is what XFactor probably does the best. I am not the biggest X-head. Obviously, you can tell by my collection, I only collect a handful of X books, really, mainly just to avoid collecting 5 volumes of Uncanny X-Men, but I do collect XFactor because I love this title very much, and I love Peter David's work on the title as well. But that does wrap up XFactor Volume 2, so let's jump to the next book. Next up is Miles Morales' Spider-Man by Saladin Ahmed, the Omnibus, or what I like to call it, which is just Miles Morales Spider-Man Volume 3. This does collect a more recent and modern run by Saladin Ahmed. This continues the story of Miles Morales as Spider-Man existing in the 616 universe. You get to see a lot of impactful events really take place during this run, but you also get to see Miles really grow into his own character with his own supporting cast, and I very much enjoy this run. I don't think it's as great as the first volume of Brian Michael Bendis' stuff when he was still in the Ultimate Universe, but still, it is really, really good. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of Into the Spider-Verse vibes to it, and I did do a review on this book, which I can leave up above for those of you that want to check it out further before purchasing. But that does wrap up Miles Morales Spider-Man Volume 3. So let's jump to the next book. And next up is a out of print and whale of mine, which is Realm of Kings, or War of Kings Aftermath, Realm of Kings. This is the final book in the modern cosmic saga. So you obviously have Annihilation, Annihilation Conquest, Road to War of Kings, which is now the only volume that I'm missing, and then you have War of Kings, and then War of Kings Aftermath. So I do need one more book to finish out the modern cosmic saga, but still, this being out of print, me being able to find it in the wild and support a local comic book store was very important to me. I'm extremely excited to eventually finish this modern cosmic saga. Weirdly enough, I need one more book to finish the original cosmic saga as well, so I'm a little bit in a rock and a hard place, but it is what it is. But this is really great stuff. You obviously have a lot of the cosmic world of Marvel being really expanded and adventured into. Characters such as Thanos, Guardians of the Galaxy, Nova, all of those characters really being fleshed out and getting the main spotlight on those characters and their role that they're playing in this story. So it is really great stuff. I highly recommend it, but this is the final Marvel book and it's a whale, so I'm super pumped for that. But let's jump into DC books, starting with one that I was anticipating for a while, which this is Deceased War of the Undead Gods in the standard edition hardcovers with the foil spines. You guys probably know the hardcovers I'm referencing. But this is the final chapter in Tom Taylor's story of Deceased. I cannot recommend Deceased enough to readers. I know this got a lot of kind of more recent and modern comic book readers into comic books, which is pretty crazy to think about, but this is such good stuff. This has zombies, this has heartfelt moments, this has the adventure into the second generation of DC heroes. This has everything you could possibly want, and it's all wrapped up in a beautiful bow in this book here. And I really cannot recommend it enough. I'm sure an omnibus is around the corner, especially now that I finished it in these hardcovers. But if you don't want it in these smaller standard hardcovers, there are trade paperbacks. There's a deluxe edition coming out next month, and I believe a box set that collects all 4 books, I think it's 4 books, that complete this series. So definitely really good stuff, great reading, great comic book fun. If you like superheroes, if you like zombies, horror, whatever it is, it's in this book as well. So check it out. Let's go ahead and jump into the next DC title. Next up is Superman, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, the deluxe edition. This is pretty much everything that Alan Moore wrote for the character of Superman. This has Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, that storyline. There is a Swamp Thing and Superman issue as well, where they pretty much meet for the first time. And then you also have what I feel is worth the purchase alone, and that is the storyline in annual number 11 for the Man That Has Everything, which is such an incredible and impactful story. It's a must-read if you're a Superman fan. I did do a review on this book, so you can check that out up above. Definitely read this for that final issue that is collected in this. I think it makes it worth the purchase alone. It's not a thick book. It's a pretty quick read, but it's not too pricey either, so definitely check it out. But let's jump to the next one. Next up is the book that I most recently reviewed on my channel, which I'll leave that up above, which is Batman and the Joker, the Deadly Duo, which is obviously a play on words of the dynamic duo, which is Batman and Robin, because this is a team-up book between Batman and the Joker. This is all written and drawn by Mark Silvestri, who's probably most known for his work at Marvel on X-Books. So If you want to see his hand at Batman and his design of Batman and the voice that he applies to Batman and the Joker, definitely check out this book. It is beautiful in this deluxe edition because the art is incredible throughout. It's a very interesting story, but like I said, check out my review if you want any more details. Let's go ahead and jump to yet another deluxe edition. Next up is Batman Under the Red Hood, the deluxe edition. This is one that I recently reviewed as well, so I'll leave that up above unless I ran out of cards, which you guys know I probably do in every haul video. But this is pretty much the introduction and the first appearance of the Red Hood. So if you know that character from reading DC Comics, this is where he first kind of popped up. I'm obviously treading a little lightly, so I don't reveal any spoilers here in this video. But it is a very impactful story. Obviously, we got introduced to a very, very important character to Batman's lore, or reintroduced maybe. Who knows? But it is a very good story. It does have an animated movie as well that is awesome, so check that out as well. But this is a great book, great price, especially for how thick it is. And it's a deluxe edition, so you get beautiful art in oversized format. So had to pick it up. I love this story. It didn't necessarily resonate with me now that I'm a little bit older and we know who Red Hood is and the role that he's playing in DC currently. But still, it's one of those essential Batman reads that you kind of have to read if you're a Batman fan. But that wraps up this, so let's jump into the next. Next up is another whale of mine, which is Sweet Tooth in the 3-volume deluxe edition set. Let's go ahead and pull volume 2 down. This is a title by Jeff Lemire doing writing and art. This is one that he's very well known for. This does have a series on Netflix as well, so if you want to know about that show's source material, this is it. The comic is absolutely amazing. I've wanted it for a very long time, but I only wanted it in hardcovers, which these are the only hardcovers that I'm aware of. But if you don't care really what format you read it in, you can find this in trade paperbacks, compendiums, a chock full of different formats if you just want to read the material. These deluxe editions are pretty hard to come by, but a member of the community was able to sell me these for a great price, so thank you for that if you're watching. But great story, can't recommend it enough. It's one of those Jeff Lemire essential reads. Honestly, a DC essential read as well, even though it doesn't have anything to do with the continuity. Great story, definitely check it out. Let's jump to the next book. Next up is finally a DC Omnibus. This was a heavy DC month, but it seems like I mainly picked up deluxe editions. But this is Wonder Woman by Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chiang. This is the New 52 run, so you do have a complete reboot of Wonder Woman, because we do know that the New 52 was a company-wide reboot, and this is her New 52 run that explains pretty much the entire character, her new origin, and her new lore. I did do a review on this omnibus, which I can leave up above. This is a great read, though. This really coats Wonder Woman in a new and different, fresh coat of paint, where you get to see her be a lot more warrior-like. This is much more action-forward than some of her other runs. It's not as glamorous. It's a lot more bloody and brutal, but still such a great read. Cliff Chiang's art is immaculate. Brian Azzarello's writing is so different for the character. So definitely check it out. It's not exactly canon anymore, or who knows. We all know how DC does. Because we're out of the New 52, so if continuity matters to you, then maybe skip it, but you would be regretting it because it is a great, great read for the character of Wonder Woman. But let's jump to the next DC Omnibus. Next up is my favorite release of the year, which is Green Lantern Corp by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason. I did do a review on this as well, which I can leave up above if I have enough cards. This is a great, great book that I feel like most people sleep on, because Green Lantern by Jeff Johns usually gets more of the focus. Rightfully so. It is a great run, but man, is Green Lantern Corp so great. This is pretty much a sister series to the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run. A lot of events that kind of take place in that somewhat take place in this, There is a little double dipping between the Jeff Johns Green Lantern Volume 1 and this Volume 1, but still, this is 100% worth the read. This fleshes out the rest of the core, a lot of the core members, new members. You get to have Guy Gardner and Kyle Rayner in the forefront as the main characters. Kilowog getting a major focus as well. Such a great read, such a great team book. Some of the characters that were introduced in this run became some of my favorite characters ever. So please do yourself a favor. Read this if you're a DC fan, Green Lantern fan, fan of whatever. Read this because it's slept on so much and it really should not be. But that wraps up Green Lantern Corp. So let's jump to my final book of the haul. This is probably everyone else's favorite release of the year, which is the Batman Adventures Omnibus. This is pretty much the tone, vibe, aesthetic, feeling, and voice that you get from Gotham and the characters inside of Gotham in the Batman animated series, but in comic book format. This is a great read. I did do a review up above, which I will leave. And man, is it awesome. If you're a fan of the animated series, this is a must purchase, a must read, because you just get more of that animated series just feeling in general. This is not an adaptions omnibus though, so you don't have a adaptation of each of the animated series episodes turned into a comic book. These are new adventures for the characters that really only get explored during this comic series. There is an adaptation in here for Mask of the Phantasm, which is a lot of people's favorite Batman or Superman or superhero movie in general. So definitely worth the purchase. It is a very big book, heavy on content, but if you're a fan of the Batman animated series, then it is 100% something you got to check out and read and really collect, especially for this cover alone and this beautiful spine. But highly recommend it. But that is my final book of the haul. But that does wrap up today's video, so thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear from you guys and hear what you guys picked up this month. I want to hear your hauls and what was your most excited pickup during this month. I'd love to hear from you guys just as much as you guys love to hear from me. We're a community, so let's talk back and forth about what we may have missed or slept on, or maybe have to circle back and pick up, because really that keeps things on my radar, and maybe these videos keep things on yours. So definitely comment down below. Also, I want to let you guys know that in the month of October, I am going to have a lot of personal events taking place that are going to be taking up a lot of my time during the beginning half of October. So I am going to apologize to you guys because I am going to be slowing down on content during the month of October. I'm going to probably set up some videos and shorts that can release maybe once a week during the month of October until I get back home and can get back on the schedule for you guys. But until then, just be aware that my activities, my content, my interaction is probably going to slow down pretty drastically during the month of October, and I do apologize for that. But if you are not a part of the Illuminati, hit that subscribe button to join the community. If you could do me a favor as well and hit that thumbs up button, it means a lot to us on the channel. And if you did enjoy today's video and you want to be notified when more like it are posted, then hit that bell icon. That way you can get notifications for the channel's content. But thank you for watching. I'll see you guys when I see you next. And of course, as always, stay nerdy.